So there's a lot of controversy going around right now, right? With Dragons Dogma 2. The game launched to quite a moderate success. Everyone praising the game, enjoying the game if it's your type of game, and generally having a good time. Now, of course, Capcom have this habit where they do not showcase their actual microtransaction store. They let the reviews out, and then after a few days or a week, then they push out the microtransaction store, because they know that having a microtransaction store in a single player game will dock it some points. So in order to avoid that, they cheat the system and release the microtransaction store afterwards. Now, they aren't the only company doing this, there are others doing it as well, but Capcom are the most notorious. If we look at Devil May Cry, they had a bunch of items in there, including red and blue orbs that you could buy that pretty much made you stronger. So it was, buying strength, which is arguably worse than what's in Dragons Dogma. Then you had in Monster Hunter like different sets, whether it was a decor, generally just cosmetic stuff, but still, it's still there, and these aren't there for reviewers to take note in and have it affect their score, because it would, and that's generally what the scummy thing about it is. Now, if we go back and actually have a look at the actual microtransactions that are currently in place in Dragons Dogma, it equals to roughly around $41. You should be seeing it on screen right now, and a lot of this stuff is available in games, some in limited supply. People are defending this by saying it's supposed to be limited. Well, if it's supposed to be limited, why are you selling it? If it's supposed to be limited and that is supposed to be part of the game, why are you selling this stuff? Why is it in the game? You've got an Explorer's Camp kit. People are saying, oh, I played through the whole game and you don't need it. But there's a weight system in the game, and the Explorer's Camp kit, the camping gear, is actually lighter than the one in the game. So clearly the developers saw this and said, you know what? Let's increase the weight of the current one in game to encourage people to buy the one from the store. And that is all this is. Now, people are saying, yeah, but those are telecrystals, they're supposed to be limited and all this and all that. Why limit them then? If they're supposed to be limited, why are they available in the shop? The reason why they're limited by design is so you can go to the shop and buy them. Does it overall impact your performance in the game? Probably not. Right? You can probably just, there are people who have completely ignored the store, completed the game for the review, and had a happy time. But the reality is, if they exist outside of the game for you to buy, they have been tweaked inside the game to be more difficult to get, limited supply on purpose. That is just the way it is. We only have to look at Assassin's Creed, where they have XP boosters, and the only reason you have XP boosters is because they've dialed up the XP requirement in order to make it so you have to go and kind of get that. Tales was also the same. Tales of Arise has XP boosters, and from people that have played it have told me the leveling up does get a bit crazy, but if you buy this booster, it actually makes it much more, a much more relaxed experience. Can you see how this all works? It's not needed to finish the game, but it's making your life and your job and your enjoyment in a single player game that you are paying full price for a little bit harder. Now, I've seen people saying, why would I want to pay to make it super easy mode? You're not paying to make it super easy mode. What you're actually doing is paying to give you the experience you should have had at the get-go. So this game isn't exactly $70, it is actually $110 if you want to play it in its current form. But there are also some items in here that actually you can buy on an infinite supply. So that $41 is just buying all of the items once. Certain things you can buy multiple times, and this just in its current state is not acceptable. Capcom does this all the time. It's not the first time. I called this out in Resident Evil 4, where you could get S-rank weapons and X-rank upgrades in order to be able to just bypass the whole game mechanic so you can get the best weapons and go into the multiplayer mode or into the base game and use them. This is really, really bad. Like, it's a slippery slope, and I keep going back to my time in Destiny. In Destiny 1, Deej came out and said, this is only just to help us fund the game that bit more. And all they did at the time was introduce one sparrow. And they said, this isn't going to be egregious, this isn't going to be something crazy, we're just going to add every now and then one item to Eververse. That's it. We're not going to be doing anything else. Fast forward to today, and there are more items in that Eververse store than there are in the actual game. That's how bad it is. That is what's called the slippery slope. And Capcom has been doing this for quite some time, and they've been pushing the boundaries with each game that they're doing, and Dragons Dogma 2 is no different. If you don't have an escape from jail key and you get put in jail, well, guess what? You could just go buy one for 99 cents and get out of jail. It kind of removes that whole aspect. It pushes you in that direction. It encourages you to go and spend extra money that you shouldn't have to. Now, obviously, you're going to say, well, you don't have to spend it. And that's correct. But do you think that these people sit there, you know, without psychologists saying, how can we tweak this in a way to encourage people to buy this? How can we tweak this in a way to make it so people would want to buy this, or push them in a way where buying this would make their experience better, so it actually brings us in more revenue? Do you genuinely believe that that is not happening? Because if you do, I want to tell you that you are delusional. And I have an air guitar for sale that is 10 grand. I will mail it to you. I can't guarantee you'll get it, but if you contact me in the comment section below, or via DM on Discord, or just come into my Discord and just tell me that you're interested in buying my air guitar for $10,000 or 10,000 pounds. Pounds is easier because I get more money. Then I will ship it to you. Again, I can't guarantee that the air guitar will actually make its way to you, but seeing as you're delusional enough to believe that this is going to not be something that these companies are actively hiring people to do, then you should have no problem. You know what, 10 grand seems to be a bit much because that's pushing the boat a little bit. I'll give it to you for a tenner, right? Tenner seems good. I want, you know, so this way I can actually encourage more of you to actually send me, you know, money that, so, you know, for something you're not going to actually receive. This is the sort of thing that is happening here, okay? So this should not be something that should be promoted. This should not be something that should be just pushed aside. Dragons Dogma 2 is a good game. Its performance sucks. That's a given. But at least not on the Xbox Series X, right? Because I'm hearing people are playing it 60 FPS, which is great. That VRR is coming in clutch because the Xbox runs generally at 40 FPS, which is great. So VRR enables, or if you're running on 120 Hz TV, then you can actually enable 120, and VRR auto enables anyway, pushing the game to a good frame rate. So you're actually getting a much better experience on the Xbox than the PlayStation, which is nice to see for a change. And of course, PC is having its own problems, but you know, it didn't need this, and Capcom didn't have to do this. Now, there are people saying that they were notified that this microtransaction store was going to be in place. Others are saying they didn't know about it. And this seems to be a common thread with Capcom and a lot of companies, but Capcom especially. We've seen it with Resident Evil, we've seen it with Street Fighter. They do not introduce the microtransaction store when the review go out. Maybe they're not live, and I get that, but reviewers should be notified that there is a microtransaction store, and these are the prices for everything in the game, or these are the rough guide prices for everything in the game, and these are what they do. So as they're playing the game, if they feel a squeeze, if they feel limited, then they know why, and they can report that honestly to the consumer. But what's happening here is that review aspect, that honest aspect where the reviewers can feel that they're being kind of squeezed a little bit in order to push them to the microtransaction store, is being omitted from reviews because they're not aware, or they're not being told about the content or what is going to be involved. If it was cosmetic only, no one would care. But we are seeing, you know, all sorts of things here, from harpy snare smoke beacons to heartfelt pendants, rift incense, which actually allows you to random roll your character's inclinations, you know, your pawns. And these are $2 a pop, right? And it's a random roll. We've gone back to Diablo Immortal days, right? That's what this is. So, in my opinion, this is not acceptable. No one should be saying that this is okay. But I'm seeing so many people defending this, saying you don't have to buy it. But this is the slippery slope that started with Destiny. And Destiny now probably has one of the worst microtransaction stores out there, along with stuff like Valorant. But you know what? Valorant's free to play. That's why it's allowed to have it. But Destiny is not a free to play game. And this is a single player game. So it shouldn't have it. Right? You're already paying $70 for this game. Why does it need an egregious... Like, this is crazy, right? This is crazy. But that's my thoughts. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one. Remain legend.